the prime minister in that country says he will form a government of technocrats after the murder of a prominent opposition leader sparked violent protests. Chokri Belaid was gunned down as he left his house on Wednesday morning, prompting thousands to take to the streets in protest. Just 2 years since the revolution, today the streets of the capital Tunis bore witness to clashes with police who used tear gas to stop demonstrators from scaling the walls of the Interior Ministry.
They are the biggest protests in Tunisia since the revolution that sparked the Arab Spring. Thousands took to the streets, angered by the assassination of opposition leader Chokri Belaid. The secularist politician was shot at close range outside his home in the capital Tunis and died in hospital. Belaid's criticism of the post-revolution government had made him unpopular with opponents. The Prime Minister responded by addressing the nation. He promised a new government in a clear move to dampen tensions between secularists and religious groups.
To
learn a lesson and to take responsibility, I've decided to form a technocratic government that doesn't belong to any political party, working for its country, for a specific mission, which is as a caretaker government until a parliamentary election is held quite quickly.
Jabali's ruling Ennahda party condemned the attack, but it was where the opposition laid the blame.
We hold responsible the government, the Ministry of Interior, Al-Nahda party and specifically its leader for the assassination of our comrade Chokri Belaid. They are the ones who encourage violence and they're the ones who encourage terrorism.
This is the most high-profile political assassination since the popular protests that ended the 23-year rule of Zain El Abidine Ben Ali. Since then, the government has been trying to control violent Salafist groups, including those behind the attack on the US embassy in Tunis last September.
This is a threat, a message which we will never acknowledge or succumb to. We reject this crime and we will unmask the enemies of the revolution. The process of democratization shall continue.
Tens of thousands of people protested throughout the country after Chokri Belaid was shot. Opposition protesters blame the government for the killing. At least one policeman died in the backlash. Since 2011, the moderate Islamist Ennahda party has led a volatile coalition government. It's denied any involvement in Belaid's killing. Thousands escorted his body from the hospital where he died to the mortuary. The day before, he blamed Ennahda for tolerating groups that were hostile to international culture. The protesters had called for a downfall of the government, and to a certain degree, that's what they got. The Prime Minister condemned the shooting. Opposition groups called a general strike to coincide with Belaid's funeral.
Jabali leads an Islamist-centered coalition. He said in a televised speech that the new government would not have connections to any political party. He made the comments after someone shot and killed Chokri Belaid, a leading member of the Secular Popular Front Party. Opposition members insist that the government was involved in Belaid's death. Demonstrators took to the streets of the capital Tunis and other cities. Some clashed with security forces. People throwing stones killed one police officer. Parliamentary polls and the presidential vote has been scheduled for June, but Prime Minister Jabali said he would call elections as soon as possible.
Oh God, they've taken my brother. Larayed, you didn't protect him. They told you and you didn't protect him. God punish you, Rashid Anoushi. You're a criminal.
Belaid was gunned down outside his home on Wednesday as he was leaving for work. He was shot 4 times in the head and chest. There's not yet any clear motive for the attack, and Chokri's family have already pointed fingers at groups that have clashed with opposition leaders in the past.
The message is, shut up or we'll kill you. The Ennahda party wants to rule the country on its own. My brother had received death threats for a long time. The last one was just the day before yesterday by text.
Protesters, though, were dismissive. They say the Islamist Ennahda-run government has allowed killings like this to occur.
All of these Islamic organizations are known as terrorist organizations. History is a witness. So it's not possible anymore to discuss, to negotiate, to agree with terrorists. This government has no other choice than to resign. Otherwise, Tunisian people will topple it. They must step down.
I have just one thing to say. The government and the Ennahda Party are responsible for what happened in our country. And they are responsible of the murder of Chokri Belaid, ethically and more than that.
The killing and the subsequent violence mark the biggest crisis here since the democratic transition began 2 years ago. Amid political polarization and a stagnant economy, the Islamist-led government under pressure to include more parties in the coalition, including secular leftist party that was led by Chokri Belaid. For months, there have been growing fears in Tunisia about rising violence. But now the assassination of Chokri Belaid has tipped this country into a profound crisis. The birthplace of the Arab Spring is now gripped with fears about where it's heading.